What's up, guys? Welcome back for another episode. We have got to talk about this article from the Washington Post. Yes, kink belongs at Pride. And here is the most alarming part. And I want my kids to see it. Now, we're going to talk about what kink is with leaving out a lot of detail, but just to get the gist of it. But guys, those on the radical left, those who are in the extreme LGBTQ plus community, they believe that sexuality is basically an experiment. It's a middle school, high school experiment. Do as you wish. Mix all the potions that you want to mix. Try everything you want to try. Mix and match t-shirts. Do a tie-dye, this and that. Date her, date him, date they, date yourself. As long as you are just pursuing your authentic self, then those in this community will give 2 thumbs up. Yep, you're doing a great job pursuing your authentic self, and they are celebrating it. But the more deceiving thing is, the more dark, the dark thing about this is that they are trying to push this on the masses, guys. They are trying to push this on the masses. So I was thinking about why this story is important. And like I said, the alarming part about all of this is that liberal activist journalists like Lauren Rowello are attempting to deem this as normal. This is being ushered in as the new normal. And if you object, well, that's because you're part of the old bigoted regime that supports heteronormativity. Okay, you remember heteronormativity, the thing that Black Lives Matter wanted to deconstruct. Anyways, guys, before we jump into this article, make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified anytime I make a video. And let me just lay some more context around this, all right? Because the importance is that we get ready for all of the labels, okay? Because people like Rowello are going to slander and smear your name if you push back and you say the obvious. The obvious truth is this: bringing children to see grown-ups express their kinks, it's simply twisted and it's weird. And we should not be in a society, in a culture that allows the youngest of us to be exposed to this. And you're going to see just how young this writer for the Washington Post says that her children are when they're first exposed to this. So we have to be ready to withstand the labels of bigot and be mindful that we have to speak the truth and we have to stand up for purity, especially those of us in the religious community, those of us who claim to be Christians. We have to be able to speak to this with conviction and the ability to just call it what it is, guys. This is perverse. So what is kink? While leaving out a lot of detail, because you're all grown, you could go research it yourself. But according to its own definition, kink is an unconventional sexual taste or behavior, and it includes a wide variety of behaviors and preferences. So think of anything that is unconventional. You guys have imaginations. I'll show one picture because it summarizes just how twisted this crap is. But this movement of the LGBTQ community, known as, I guess, the kink movement, they are just a group of grown-ups, a group of people who walk around with whips and chains, and they put on little dog outfits and they show the masses what they're into when they're in the privacy of their own bedroom, yet they bring it out to the public sphere, the public sector, so all the people that are in attendance can see what they like behind closed doors. And it's just bizarre, guys. So although this woke liberal journalist activist admits that her children were not old enough to understand the nuance of the situation, so the author tells us up front, yeah, my kids don't understand what's going on. They don't understand the nuance of this. She nevertheless took them to the rally, and she did this supposedly to make them realize that the people whom they saw in the march were members of the community, celebrating who they were. So basically, they're all in the same community, kumbaya, all that good stuff. Yes, kink belongs at Pride, and I want my kids to see it. Let's read a little bit of the article. So here she is right here, Lauren Rowello. Our family often took the train into Philadelphia, but as we rode across the bridge to attend the city's Pride Parade 5 years ago, my wife's leg bounced with a nervous jitter. She squeezed my hand, worried that she might run into a colleague or be harassed by a stranger. My wife is trans and wasn't out at the time, so she typically only expressed her authenticity in the privacy of our own home. That morning, she wore a green shirt and light makeup, brushing her hair all to one side. Even though we'd attended pride marches and protests in previous years, that day was our first celebrating openly as a family. So she is in a relationship. She's married. I guess her husband switched to be a woman, and now she's calling her ex-husband a woman. So now I guess technically it's her wife. I don't know. I don't get it. Anyways, that's grown-ups doing grown-ups. Where I'm most concerned is children. When our children grew up marching, we plopped onto a nearby curb. Just as we got settled, our elementary schooler pointed in the direction of oncoming floats, raising an eyebrow at the bare-chested man in dark sunglasses whose black suspenders clipped into a leather thong. The man paused to be spanked playfully by a partner with a flog. What are they doing? My curious kid asked as our toddler cheered them on. So we have two age groups here. We have an elementary kid and we have a toddler. The toddler's cheering them on, like, yes, yeah, that's amazing, fun, fun, fun. And then the elementary kid's like, what is that? I don't know what that is, but can you tell me? And guys, this is the twisted thing. Kids should not be exposed to this. Kids should not. And this is why I said in the beginning to liberal activist journalists, sexuality is an experiment. Mix potions, do different dyes, do all of these things that don't make sense because we're in pursuit to find our most authentic self. This is dangerous territory. Let me make that point very clear. This is dangerous and this is perverse and this is downright sick, and it's dark to expose your toddler and your elementary school child to grown-ups wearing black suspenders in a leather thong, and then one of the partners hits the other partner with a flog. So basically a sexual toy. This is the most capturing of darkness you could ever imagine. I think in being out in the open, this captures just how twisted these people are. The pair was the first of a few dozen kinksters who danced down the street laughing together as they twirled their whips and batons, some leading companions by leashes. So you have all of this being seen by children. At the time, my children were too young to understand the nuance of the situation, but I told them the truth that these folks were members of our community celebrating who they are and what they like to do. That is a great response. Kids don't even understand sexuality. They don't even know who they are. I mean, let's be honest. A toddler and an elementary child, during those years, elementary kids think that they can become Spider-Man, they could become Batman, they could become any superhero that they've been exposed to. Toddlers, who knows what goes through the mind of toddlers, but definitely not anything remotely sexual. But this is just how this woman right here is setting up her kids to be super promiscuous, super just out there sexually. And she's setting her kids up to say, you know what? It's normal to go out there and experiment because sexuality is an experiment. There are no laws by God. There is no right or wrong. It's all subjective. So go out there, and as long as you have consent, do what you do. And that is what they are instilling in their children at a very young age. And guys, the way I look at it is this is, I mean, obviously you can't call it child abuse, but this is parental failure. This is parental failure when it comes to shepherding and leading your kids in ways that aren't going to clearly end up with them walking down the street with a leash on their neck and doing very perverse things in the privacy of their own rooms when they are 12, 13, 14, 15. All of these things they're seeds of darkness, and they're only going to explode into just really honestly, I fear that these kids that are exposed to this, they're going to peddle it, they're going to embrace it. And then later on down the line, they're going to have like a rejection of it because they weren't given the opportunity to be normal. And yes, I'm going to say it. Normal is when a boy dresses like a boy and likes a girl. And these types of kids aren't given that opportunity. Anyways, guys, I want to read this last part of this article because I thought this was this part, if I could find it, was just it was mind-blowing to me that she thinks that this is what we should be talking about with our children. Let me see if I can find it. All right, it's in this paragraph right here, but children who all right, here it is right here. Children who witness kink culture are reassured. So this is her argument for allowing kids to look at this. Children who witness kink culture are reassured that alternative experience of sexuality and expression are valid, no matter who they become as they mature. That's the whole thing. It's all subjective. It doesn't matter who you become. It's all good, baby. All right, helping them recognize that their personal experiences aren't bad or wrong and that they aren't alone in their experiences. I can't think of a more relevant or important reminder for youth who often struggle with feelings of isolation and confusion as they discover more about themselves and wrestle with concerns about whether they're normal enough. Okay, let's just get this out the way right here. Elementary kids, if you don't expose them to this, they won't be left thinking, are they normal enough? Okay, because elementary kids and especially toddlers aren't thinking, am I normal enough? No, they are just living life apart from all the pulls and influences of sexuality. But if you just let them go, then hey, you're gonna expose them to things like this. So moving on with the article, including kink in pride open spaces for families to have necessary and powerful conversations with young people about health, safety, consent, most uniquely pleasure. Kink visibility is a reminder that any person can and should shamelessly explore what brings joy and excitement. I mean, that's just, to me, this is what you call immaturity. You're basically telling your kids, pursue pleasure and do it because you should shamelessly do it because you are looking for what brings you joy and excitement. And hey, that's the meaning of life. The meaning of life is to explore things that bring you joy and pleasure. This is a superficial pursuit of happiness, and it's twisting kids up. Now, this is the worst part, guys, in my opinion. I'm gonna link this article in the description below so you can read it for yourself if you want to. We don't talk to our children enough about pursuing sex to fulfill carnal needs that delight and captivate us in the moment. What? Did she really just say that? Did she really just say we don't talk to our children enough? Not educating our kids about which way they should go. No, no, no. You need to pursue sex to fulfill carnal needs that delight and captivate us in the moment. Now, I'm all for sex education, but this is what she means. And I'm going to show one picture and wrap this on up because I've made my point and I want you guys to respond. But here is a picture. All right. And this is from OP India. A child with kinks. A child with kinksters. And that's enough of that. So, guys, these liberal, woke, journalist activists, what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a new normal. They're going to set this up. And then if us, people like me and you, uh, push back against this, all they're going to do is label us as old regime bigots who are all about heteronormativity. We are religious zealots. And guys, we have to be ready to withstand all of those labels. And we have to just point to the fact of the matter that sexuality is given to us by God. God created male and female. God created male and female to reproduce and multiply. And he designed that so that men and women can multiply so that we could experience the fullness of the human experience by engaging in intimacy with the opposite sex in the ramifications, in the safeguards of marriage. And we have to be able to articulate that because there's going to be a growing group of kids who are lost in this world because they are being brought up to think that all of this kink stuff is normal. And people like us, the religious zealots, the old regime heteronormativity bigots, we're the ones who are wrong. And everybody else who is, oh, we're in for inclusion. Inclusion's just a blanket for darkness. But nonetheless, guys, we have to be ready to speak to this. And that's the reason why I wanted to bring this to you today, because I thought it was important to put this out in the atmosphere and push back against it, because the liberal establishment, woke LGBTQ machine is coming for our kids, coming for our purity, and we have to say no and we have to resist. But I'm gonna leave that right there. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, as always, guys, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified anytime I make a video. I will see you good people on the next one. As always, guys, God bless. Peace.